got some introductions. James, I think you got one.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's an honor and a privilege to introduce and welcome Pepe Carreras. Pepe's here. He's 18 days on the job as the new CEO for the National Medal of Honor Center for Leadership. He brings 25 years of strategic and mission-driven executive experience, both in nonprofit, government, and in the private sectors. He recently led and was president CEO of the Graduate School of USA, where he drove educational innovation and data-driven strategies across public and private industries. He served 10 years as a firefighter, and we are very glad to have him and his wife here. He enjoyed being with us July 4th on the ship and celebrated our nation's independence together. Pepe, welcome. It's great to have you here. It's great to have you leading the center, and would love to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. Mr. Chairman, board, and guests, it's really an honor of a lifetime to be part of the National Medal of Honor Center for Leadership. I hope not only to be a good partner, but also to help take the center into new heights. So I look forward to working with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pepe. We're glad to have you with us and look forward to working with you. Allison?
Yes, I do have an introduction. I have a team that I would like to introduce, and they are, everybody knows them, they're familiar faces. So we have a newly structured exhibits program, and I would like to introduce our exhibits team. I have Brian Parsons is our exhibits manager, and there he is. Everybody knows Brian. He's been doing exhibits forever, and he is partnering with Jim Vickers. And Jim Vickers is graphics, and everybody knows the both of them. And they have been involved in this realm for many years. So combined, each of these guys has been here 28 years. They have a combined experience of 56 years working at Patriots Point. They know this ship better than anybody else, and have been involved in this capacity. But we're really formalizing the exhibits program with planning out for the year for all the exhibits that we want to do and what we want to do programmatically. They work very closely with our education team, with Kenny, and with Colby and Miranda and our collections folks. So it's really, they cross a lot of different areas. They are affectionately known as the Unicorn Squad because they are there. We have 2 or 3 people here who just don't fit neatly in any kind of thing and kind of cover all sorts of things. So, as we move forward with the museum master plan, we're really looking to these two and the collective teams to implement these ideas that Doug will be talking about shortly. We met the other day, had a great meeting about their plans for the upcoming year, and they are proposing a couple of very exciting exhibits as well as a look at every space below deck and everything that we need in each space and how we want to use those space, and thinking about our tour routes. They have a very big job. It's a little bit like painting the Golden Gate Bridge. They will always be looping around. So anyway, they do great guys. They do a great job, and excited to have them working under David Coates. Great team.
Thank you guys for everything you do. Executive Director's report.
I'll just launch right in. So the big event in July is 4th of July. So just to give y'all a little bit of an overview of our 4th of July event. We had a fantastic event. It sold out again this year. We had actually dropped the attendance a little bit just for better crowd control, better security measures. So we had 750. We made some changes from last year to how the layout for the event, so we really maximized the entire hangar bay. We had food and tables set up all along the entire hangar bay area. We enhanced our security. We added some layers there, and that went very, very smoothly. And we had music on two levels. Great bands. James's band did a fantastic job, rocked out, and a lot of fun. And we had great weather, which more and more is kind of the key to the success. It had cooled off. There was a nice breeze, so everything went really, really smoothly. I have to thank the town of Mount Pleasant for their incredible partnership for this event. We could not do it without them. We had all the police department, we had fire officers, they support our fireworks, on and on. They're great partners. So nothing but great reports from the 4th. We had people here from all over the globe. It's very fun to talk to our guests and see where everybody is from. So we are already gearing up for next year, because next year is the 250th birthday of America. So we are really going to have to bring it. So our team is meeting next week to really start thinking about how we're going to take it up a notch next year. But great reports and great reviews across the board. I also want to mention we have an Operation Overnight Family Night, so people can bring their families and spend the night on the ship with their families. There are games, interactive exhibits, and we will have a special appearance by the Charleston Battery, some members of the Charleston Battery soccer team. It is a really fun night. We don't do many of these. We have a lot of fun things planned, and today is the last day to register, so bring the kids, bring the grandkids. You've got to spend the night on the ship at least once.
Yes.
And then just one more thing I wanted to mention. Our summer camps are rolling along, going really well. Again, we partner with the town of Mount Pleasant on this. They do a great job. We have the Camp Summer Scientist camps and the Fly Through History Flight Academy camps. So Hannah Kratz and Aaron Franklin and their teams do an amazing job with these camps. They sell out every year. They're wildly popular, and I know we're talking with Kenny about expanding some of these options, because we think there is a real need in our community for this. So that is my report.
I want to thank everything you and the staff did regarding the 4th. By all accounts, it was an awesome
Thank you.
event, well planned, well run, and I don't want you to think it goes unnoticed that you guys are working all day on a holiday when everybody else is on the beach until they come to the 4th of July fireworks. We appreciate that all of y'all doing. It's just super. We look forward to next year.
Team is amazing, absolutely amazing, and we all have a great time on the 4th. That's a fun. Where else would you want to be on the 4th of July?
Yeah, right. Okay. Would you introduce Doug?
Sure, I will be happy to introduce Doug Mund with DDMG2. Where's Doug? Doug's tucked there on the back corner. Come on up, Doug.
Yep.
So everybody is well aware that we have been working on our museum master plan now for a little bit over a year. We have had a great experience working with Doug and his team, and it has been highly interactive and very engaging. Doug came over a year ago and met with the board, and has met with the board again since then, has met with our staff, met with the Yorktown Association, the Yorktown Foundation, our volunteers. It has been an incredibly engaged process, and we feel like we got really clear direction and feedback on where we needed to go and what people wanted to see. And Doug has done an amazing job taking that information and creating a plan out of it. And I just want to thank Doug and his team for the great job. You guys have done great partners, and I want to thank our steering committee. We met a lot. We worked really hard, and I'm proud of what you are getting ready to see. So with that, I'm going to hand off to Doug.
Thank you. That was a wonderful introduction. I appreciate it. And I said to a couple of folks this morning, I was thinking on the way in last night, we do a lot of master plans like this. I think the first time we met, I said, when we had the opportunity to work on top of an aircraft carrier, we got to do it. And we're so thrilled that we have this opportunity. And plans can go a lot of different ways. But in this case, this plan is really your plan. And we help you develop ideas and concepts. You've lived this life forever. And we come in and try and show you best avenues on how to change things and adapt things to visitor expectations and visitor experiences that museums really have to generate now. And oftentimes that's a difficult thing to swallow. You know, change is difficult. And I think due to the number of times that we've met, we've been able to understand your points of view, your values, and the things that were really cherished and important to you. And I think this plan reflects that. We've sort of had this really nice balance of recognizing that the ship is the artifact, and that gives you tons of opportunities to be able to tell the stories about these young men who risked everything, gave up everything in their lives, jumped on board ship, and became this family on board ship from every corner of America. And those are the sorts of stories that I hope, as the plan is sort of digested, and I know we're working heavily with Brian, and there are good things happening already. So I'm really encouraged about the acceptance of the plan and the opportunities you have. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. I think the what we've got to show you represents the plan. I'm going to go through it a little bit quicker than I think what is really needed to sort of evaluate things. But as Allison mentioned, we've been on this. We've spent in the office hundreds and hundreds of hours over the past year and a half developing this plan. And for us, it begins with listening. And I want to just distinguish between the two words, listening and hearing. And over the years, we've understood the difference. And we've heard what you all have said, and I hope you'll agree that this plan represents that. I will say that we've had a couple ups and downs, right? We've come with a couple of concepts that weren't so eagerly accepted. And we understood, we listened, and we sort of evolved and bounced around that. But it was really the exhibit committee that I really want to thank their participation, because one of the main key elements first is the development of a narrative. And you all really didn't have a narrative. You had great things to say about this ship and a lot of different avenues, but there was never one central theme that you were able to say, hey, what are we about? So a central theme or a single narrative is imperative to how a museum develops everything beyond this point. And I mean everything. Signage, every exhibit component. You should look to this narrative, which I think is so powerful. And again, we wrote a narrative in the office, which was close to this, but then it went back to the exhibit committee, and they really crafted this. And my kudos to them for this. And what I'll do is suggest, as you look through this and read through it, pick out 10 words that you can really dig into and begin to take into every other smaller exhibit that you always develop. And once you do that, and I'll give you a few that I picked out: shared value, honor, defend freedom from every corner in America, support, duty. There's so many words in here that you could singly take out and go ahead and do a spectacular exhibit. But everything you do from now on needs to reflect on this. Before you start anything else, read this, talk about it, and figure out how you relate your exhibits, signage, graphics, everything relates to this narrative. I won't go through all of these, but these are a couple of the initial elements that that we really looked to as we began talking with you, meeting with you. These 7, 8 points here are really bullet points that that we always reflected on to see how we were doing. You know, were we meeting your expectations? It became clear to us that the ship is the artifact, and you were really determined to make sure that people were able to feel how these men lived on board ship. And I think you've done a great job of that, mostly down below on the lower decks. But now we're really in this 2026, we've got to engage the public. And we are battling Disney, and we're battling Netflix, and all of these other competitors that you know very well who you have. So how can we really make this experience a better balance of the visitor experience that people expect nowadays, and keep the traditions and the history that you all are so passionate about? So we think we found that balance. And what we're suggesting here, and you'll see on the next pages, are really to enhance the hangar deck and use that hangar deck to really expand the stories that's in that narrative, but also bring it into 2026 and 27, 28, and give it a presentation and a balance, because you got a lot going on in the hangar deck. A couple of our first scenarios took away some of the event space. That was a no deal. So what we've tried to do is keep a balance of exhibit space and new exhibit space. And as you'll see, we want to reinterpret Hangar Bay 2 really fully as it might have been used when the ship was active. Just a couple of more points, which I'm going to go through when we go through the deck plans. We did do some budget estimates for some of this implementation. Some of these have already gone up in cost. Unfortunately, we've seen a 35 to 40% increase in 2 years in exhibit costs. And it's pretty remarkable. Okay, so here's the hangar deck. There was tons of discussions about where do we access the ship from the pier? How does the flow happen up and down the 835 feet of deck space? You all will recognize this much better than I will, but Hangar Bay 1, Hangar 2, and 3, this is where you currently go enter onto the ship. The committee decided they'd really like to move the entry point into Hangar Bay 1. So you'll see a couple of renderings here that will recognize some new access points. We're suggesting an elevator tower that could be positioned on the pier to get folks up and down all the way to the flight deck, and then have bridges that go across to the second deck and third deck. But what we've tried to do, we recognize that Hangar Bay 1 is used a lot for event space and scout programs, things like that. Basically an orientation space. Here's the theater, existing theater, and then Medal of Honor Museum here. So when we had this the entry point into Hangar Bay 1, it allowed us to reorganize Hangar Bay 1 into what we're calling the orientation space to the ship. And we think the orientation is a component that we use in all of our museums, and it's a way to sort of shift people's ideas and recognition from, they're parked the car, they've paid their tickets, they're coming across that bridge, they don't know quite what to expect perhaps. So in Hangar Bay 1, after the introduction or the meet and greet area, then we want to really turn them on to what they're about to see and what they can experience throughout the museum. So in this case, we're proposing that you use smaller vitrines that are all movable on casters. You'll see some renderings here that will represent some repositioned aircraft, and then a special area which we're calling it's all about the seaman's life and walking in the footsteps of heroes, if you will. And you'll see some renderings which I can go deeper into it. But once you've been greeted, you've done your orientation, you can simply pass into Hangar Bay 2. Hangar Bay 2 is repositioned aircraft, and then lots more film, entertainment. I had no idea when we began this that Hangar Bay 2 was used for films and movies at the same time when they were repairing aircraft. So we're proposing you do exactly that, and you have films that are shown there. Our plans always like to invite other opportunities for the museum to engage in off-hour activities, so we want to give you that flexibility. At the same time, we recognize there are going to be repeat visitors who have done the ship before, they've seen the film, they might want to get to one of those special spots down below. So you can pass directly through Hangar Bay 2 and then go past the Medal of Honor, of course go in Medal of Honor Museum, but then go to Hangar Bay 3, which is staged also as an activity spot or an area for special functions. In this case, the yellow at the stern is showing the possibility for a controlled airspace exhibit space. Here, a lot of our museums use temporary or rotating exhibit spaces, and that's a great way to kind of keep your exhibits and collection out to the public on view. You can change it every 3-4 months, so it's always something that's changing, but it is an option you can do. We're also suggesting a possibility is the theater could be changed into a 4D immersive experience. We're doing a lot of these experiences. You know, we used to do IMAX theaters with museums years and years ago, but the new thing is these 4D experiences. And you'll see some images of that too. Okay, let me keep going here.
The sheets.
So we've gotten into the different levels, of course, and we have suggested a different route. So one of the biggest complaints as we spent time here talking with visitors is them not knowing where to go. Part of that's signage, part of it's the routes that you all have, the different routes. So on the lower plan, which is a little hard to see, but what we're suggesting is that there be a single route down below deck. And I know you all have done some work on this already, but I'll go ahead and go through it. But what we did is we, you all know the ship, like I said, better than I, but behind the existing information desk, there's an access point to go down, and it goes down into sick bay. We're suggesting you use that point to start your below deck experience. You go down, but rather than going left to 6th Bay, you go to the right. And what that does is it brings you down through here, brings you down this route. You can loop around through here, you come into here, and then you can work your way back, go past that same point you entered. Oh, it's working now. And then you can go this way, and then either go down to the 3rd deck or come back up to the hangar deck down near the B-25. The above deck experience is from the hangar deck. Is the same location where it is now from hangar deck. You can go up to the flight deck and the tower. So the red dots represent access up, and the blue dots represent access down. Not working. Is Chris still there?
Yeah.
And this plan represents, you'll see the different colors of the blue and the green in here, and those represent the areas that need to be transformed as Brian begins to look at. If this plan is implemented, what different areas that we suggest be implemented. But our premise for all of those was to recreate as many places down below as we could, because that's another topic that we heard from visitor surveys and discussions throughout our time here, is people really got engaged with the spaces being reinterpreted as they were used. And again, it goes back to that artifact of the ship. Yes. Oh, thank you.
Lord, this is great.
So now I'll get into some of these views, and I always preface this, you know, with computers now, we can make these renderings look like they're incredibly developed, and they are. Frankly, we've gone much further than we normally do in master planning. So I'll give you all some concepts and the looks look of what we're intending. This is a view if you had just finished your introduction, you've entered onto the ship, and this is what you'll begin to see. Part of our duty was to develop some signage systems. And here we're suggesting some pretty bold but pretty simple signage systems. And you'll see these used on the exterior of the building, but we think that this sort of concept should be used throughout, wherever you develop new signage. Like I said, pretty bold and pretty simple. We're suggesting that this sort of sign is maybe 8 feet wide, 10 or 12, 14 feet tall. So we want to really make it clear. We understand that people learn more and have a better experience if they feel more comfortable in the space and experience. So we want to make it as clear as possible. Then we've also dived down into the graphics for individual spaces. So upper left, you'll see an example for officers berthing. So these are the 11 by 14s or 24 by 36. And then that same look is translated all the way down to the individual artifact labels. Again, so how do we get people on that route, right? So these are some suggestions on ways to be as clear as possible using the dots in between the arrows. These arrows could be on the walls and on the floor. So here what we've done is we've broken down some of these views. The upper left-hand view is if you're on the pier and you're walking towards the ship, and over towards the right is the new elevator tower with that American flag on it, a glass cone at the top that reflects you reaching the flight deck. There are 2 or 3 bridges included here. And then on the right-hand side, Hangar Bay 1. Here you've gotten a little bit closer, and now you're ready to walk up the stairs to the main entry. Here you can see we're suggesting the use of those signage components. You can see the bridges that go across. Now you've just stepped on board ship. Directly in front of you is the information desk. We've relocated the dauntless, and we're suggesting hanging that dauntless just behind and above the information desk. So immediately you're engaged in the aircraft. Directly behind the information desk, we're suggesting a new glass wall. And that glass wall can be used for graphics. In particular, we're showing the American flag on the left-hand side there. But what it does is the glass wall gives you sort of this level of transparency throughout the ship. So you can see, or you sort of expect what's coming next. To the right is the theater. Here you've gone just behind the information desk. What you'll see in a moment will be better to explain this, but we'd like to introduce suggest a large interactive map that's as long as this table, but twice as wide. And really to be able to have that a moving component map where you can discover all kinds of things about the ship. And directly behind that is a 35-foot model of the USS Yorktown with a cutaway. So you begin to understand the magnitude and the complexity of this ship. And again, this is your orientation. So we're trying to bring people into this world. Now, directly behind that ship is this glass wall, and that area is what we're calling the real orientation of the men who are walking in the shoes of heroes. And these, we're telling the stories of all these people who came from every corner of the United States, and left everything behind to come and do exactly what that narrative says. So this one, you have your back to the theater, and you're looking towards Hangar Bay 2. What we're also suggesting is that we introduce a new catwalk system. We'd like to put a stairway and a catwalk system that's within Hangar Bay 1, but allows the visitor to get up to about 12 or 14 feet above hangar deck level to get a view all the way down to the stern of the ship and turn around and look the other way. In front of you on the left in that image is the interactive map, and then to the right is the model, the ship, and then to the right are film projections of activities on the ship. This image is a little bit up high. Your back is to the theater. The white map on the floor, we're suggesting a projection of task forces to understand where the USS Yorktown fit in a task force. That's a projection. So again, you're walking over top of this. Hopefully you're thinking, maybe I'm part of this. Off to the right again are projections in the area where we talk about the young men who did all they did. This is down lower, you're back to the theater. Here are those movable vitrines that are throughout. And then to the right are the projections or the orientation area. Another view, that same view, the light blue portion here is the open area in the side of the ship. These are some concepts for the theater itself, the 4D immersive theater. So when we talk about 4D, we're wind, water, sound, movement. Here projections on all four sides of the theater, including the ceiling. This view is now you're looking towards the theater, again using large projections and images to begin to tell these stories. Standing on top of that projection, looking towards Hangar Bay 2. Here you can see the catwalks up above, right here, that span the distance. Dauntless is just above you. This one, again, you can see Dauntless there, the projection down low. Here's this separation glass wall that can use for imagery and graphics. On the other side is the orientation space. More the same. Okay, here what the concept for this orientation space is, we'd like to use full height wall graphics and film on the exterior, the port side of the ship. But then these pylons represent kiosks, if you will, where we can have the stories of all of the seamen participated on board, their stories included on these scrolling maps. So there might be 10 or 12 of these. And you can dial up a particular name and that person will come up. And it might tell his duties, it might tell his responsibilities and activities. So we see this as an expansion of how do we tell the stories of these young men. Here's another view of that. You can also see the stairway that goes up to the catwalks. This, you now walked into Hangar Bay 2. You're up on top of the catwalk here looking towards the theater. Again, now you're looking towards Hangar Bay 2. Looking back towards the theater, and on your right is the information desk. You can see that white projection that's down below. The same. So this is part of Hangar Bay 2 where we'd like to interpret it just as it was and how it was used, including jeeps, all of the bombs, any repair equipment. A lot of the aircraft will be repositioned here. We'd like to use, we're going to show you a film here on the left. I had no idea that Batman was developed in the 1940s, but Olivia says it was. Again, more development in Hangar Bay 2. So a lot of you know we'd love to be able to reposition an aircraft on the existing elevator that's currently used at the main entry of the building. And we have heard lots of concerns. We don't know if it's strong enough. Brian's indicated that some investigation was done at some point. But we think it'd be great if we could reposition the Skyhawk out there. That's the smallest aircraft we've got. reposition that out there so that we can tell that story. This is moving down towards the B25. You've already got the the new simulator that's down there. That shows here too. We've showed the simulator here, up here. This is that rotating gallery if you chose to do it. The B25 is here. We've repositioned the different associations right in this area rather than having them down in the hangar bay 2 and 1 to reposition them here so they have some reflection with the Medal of Honor Museum. So in all of, here you go, that's the view from looking towards the existing elevator. And I think that's it. I think that's it for that. So everything should be represented in these packets you have. We're happy to get you as many of those as you like. Can I answer any questions?
Yeah, anybody got any questions, Pat?
Yeah, looking at the first tour, what would you estimate the time for a normal person would be to go through tour 1?
The below deck tour.
Yes.
If everything is tricked out like we all like it to be, I think it's an hour and a half.
Okay.
And that's a little tough question because we
Sure.
call them the jackrabbits, right? The one who just want to take pictures and say they're here,
Yeah.
and then there are the others who want to read everything. But I think an hour and a half is safe.
We tried to introduce one of the thought process behind this was we did want to have an option for people who did not have as much time, to really spend their time. So part of the thinking with the single tour route is there are places where you can pop up if you really have a limited amount of time. So you could come and do the hangar bay. You could do the hangar bay, a portion of below deck, and then the flight deck, and you can do all of that within an hour and a half or 2 hours.
And I think what we proposed as far as some of the budget items, we did try and look at like things that could be pieced out, if you will. You're not going to do it all at once. So what's the best thing to do first? And I think we're suggesting is do hangar bay first, because those people that do have an hour, they're going to get an awesome experience if they just do hangar bay, and they will get a good sense of what it was like to be here. Maybe not the in-depth below deck, but so.
What's the time frame to doing all this?
I'm sorry?
What's the time frame of doing all this?
I would say the hangar deck, if you all had the money, it would be, depending on, so we're going to have to close some things down, right, to do some. So if you want to be open, we're going to have to look at, so maybe we do hangar bay 1 while the existing entry is still open. We do that, then do hangar bay 2, maybe 3 is the last thing. So I think it's probably a 6 to 8 month thing.
The nice thing about the way it really is almost 3 distinct areas that function differently, and so we really can break it into pieces. And one of the things that we want to do in Hangar Bay 1 is that will become an event space. We've got the bomb elevators in Hangar Bay 1. It's right there at the entry. And then we have the vitrines that move that we can either separate the space so that you can use it different ways or push them against the wall. That we have some options there. But the other thing that we want to do in Hangar Bay 1 is to air condition it.
That
It's
was one of
heating and
them,
cooling.
yeah.
It's real. You all know we're really limited by the climate on the hangar bay. So that is Brian and David have been involved in those conversations, and that is doable.
It is, and that's why.
Maybe we want to keep the spots.
That's why. So, in this catwalk system, we've developed the stair here. This is all hangar bay 1, hangar bay 2. So we've designed the catwalk so it has a limited joint that goes into hangar bay 2. So you come up in hangar bay 1, do this catwalk, have the opportunity to go down into hangar bay 2. But we recognize that if you're all going to control that space in hangar bay 1, that you'll need a separation or a barrier here. So we do have in there a cost for what we call garage doors, glass garage doors, because we would like it if you do have a function in there, people are still in Hangar Bay 2, they'd like to be able to look into Hangar Bay 1. So it is a glass wall that we're proposing there. But that's a great question about phasing and sort of implementation. How do you do this? I think you've already started on below decks, and that's really a piecemeal thing. And how you want to do that, I think, is up to you.
Right, and we've started with some of the hangar. We're able to think about how we're going to place things, and so as Doug mentioned, we've got the simulator that's now located in Hangar Bay 3. We'll be moving the Apollo capsule into Hangar Bay 3. So lots to come with that. But the Hangar Bay 3 area still can function as event space. The stage will come out, and we'll have a temporary stage that we can set up as needed in either 3 or 1. But we have the flexibility of those two spaces that would work differently. But we see food service in that area, some seating, just a place where you can it functions a little bit differently, and a place to relax if guests want to sit down and get a bite to eat. That's the Hangar Bay 3 is the spot where that's very accommodating.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more question.
Pat.
Doug, why the Dauntless? Why do you want that as the?
I think that was the exhibit committee really wanted the ability for folks to see into the cockpit. And by raising it up, it looks intriguing from down below.
Right.
But the catwalks are positioned so that you can look into the Dauntless cockpit. Yeah.
Okay. But they flew off of this ship then.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Any other questions? James?
What's his cost?
Couple, Doug, again, just thank you and your team and all the staff. It's exciting to see what can be. And so a couple of questions. Did y'all contemplate, and this may be deeper into the plan, but we talked about the integration with the Medal of Honor recipients, and we've got a number of exhibits that are out there that currently, are you contemplating that as you develop these sites?
I can probably field that one. That definitely is on
It's
us
still
as
in
we're
there.
as
Okay.
we're developing that. I think that's a little more of a deeper kind of a next level. But
Okay.
Right. I should have started because I think I did our first visit. This is sort of that 30,000 foot
Yep.
view, right? To give you a roadmap of how you implement all
Right.
these smaller things. But
I really like the emphasis on, walking the footsteps of heroes, and I think that's just so critical to telling the story. I love reorienting the hangar deck much like it was when it was in operation, historically accurate, and I can see having a forward space that is a little bit more, climate controlled. I'm glad we're not looking at what like the Intrepid did and making the whole,
right.
hangar bay like,
Yeah.
you could not be on an aircraft carrier. I mean, it really. So we're doing. I love the integration of that and having it towards the bow where you have the theater there and opportunity to have those types of experiences that may not be historically accurate, but have a powerful way to tell a story there, and then still maintain that portion as you sort of pass through this gateway internally. You move back in time into that experience, and I can see that as being really, really remarkable. So you get the 4D kind of theater experience in the museum, but then you get this
I
incredible
appreciate that.
space that you can walk in. And the catwalks, I know they're we still have part of one as you walk through.
Yeah.
You can look
Yeah.
down. So I assume these will all be worked to be as historically accurate as we can on parts of that. Are we looking to?
I mean, that's a really good
Yeah.
point you bring up, and with historic preservation and recreation, sometimes you really want to use. Actually, you want to keep the scale of the spaces and and the feeling, but you may use different, more contemporary materials, so that they kind of play off of each other. But I think that's a conversation as we get into looking at doing this, how we want to do it. Do we want to really try and recreate what a catwalk look like, or do we want to try and do something a little more contemporary that still manages the scale? But that's a very good point. And one thing I do want to point out that is a little bit misleading, as Doug alluded to at the beginning, when you look at these images, The computer can only go so far with making it look like a ship.
Yeah.
So we are not changing walls or anything about, some spaces will have the glass panels and things like that, but we're maintaining the ship. We're not trying to turn it
Yeah.
into a building. So it does throw people when you see these images that that looks like a ceiling, and it's not.
Right.
It stays the same.
And we'd like to project onto the existing side walls of the ship.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
there's some funky distortion or something because something's out in front, so be it.
Yeah.
You
When you talked about that projection on the ground and the movement and the integration of the ships, I mean, I think those are really in the cross section. But those things in particular, it'd be great to see it be historical, like tell a story of a particular engagement that the ship was on either CV5 or CV10, and so you would have that visual, not just it is representing but actually historically what took place. If you go.
Right, right. And we can do that both in the interactive table, right?
Yeah.
But the beauty of the projection is you can change that as often as you want.
Yeah.
It's just a projection.
Right.
So even if you had a special function or something,
Oh, yeah,
you can change that out. Or if you had a special exhibit going on that you really wanted to push, you change that out,
Right.
and all of a sudden it's a
Awesome. And then the kiosk telling the stories. I assume that is going to include CV5 sailors as well as CV10, both Yorktowns
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all the way through current.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
Yeah.
No reason not
through
to,
that,
right? I mean,
right.
right.
I'm very excited, thrilled, appreciate
Thank
the
you.
work.
Thank you.
I noticed when I come aboard, as you walk down the passageway through the handicap way, you have the sounds there of the machine shop. You walk by that.
Yeah.
Will we be able to create sounds in this?
I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sounds are one of my biggest things because we all have that's something that triggers something. And
Yeah.
it could be a smell, and it could be a sound, or something visual. But sounds in particular are easy and so powerful to interject throughout this whole experience. Imagine you could have the sound of an aircraft taking off on the flight deck, and you hear it while you're on the hangar deck.
Right.
You could, the possibilities are endless. And I think you should catch them as soon as they step on board. There should be like aside from the normal ship smell, but
Doug was talking about piping in ship smell, and I think we've got
You
it.
got
That's right.
I think there's need for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It hits you.
The World War II Museum has that sound.
That's right.
In a lot of places.
Yep.
It's very effective, I think.
It really is. Yep. And I would also introduce some particular music. In some exhibits, music really helps sort of set the tone and mood.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of music. The Mighty Eighth Museum, we're still working on that. So we're doing a lot.
Well, we found out here too with the Vietnam experience.
That's
Yeah.
It makes the Vietnam
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
in some way.
And Chris Coleman and I were just discussing some upgrades that he is able to do to increase our Wi-Fi capacity. He's doing it throughout the ship, but he's also going to increase our bandwidth. So these things are becoming, we can do them now.
Great.
I think it's going to make a huge difference.
This is wonderful.
Anything else? Any other questions?
I do.
Susan?
Just a couple of thoughts. So back to the idea of the single narrative. Are you saying that's established or that's evolving?
Well, it's as far as the master plan, it's established, but it should be reworked and it should be looked at.
So what is it now?
That's the first page.
First page,
Freedom.
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 Freedom is our
Yes.
greatest good.
Yep.
Okay. So everything focuses back to that.
Yes.
And the other thing is, I just read an article. It's just in a current magazine. I have it home. Let me bring it. It is the story of the first Yorktown and the battle and what happened. And for the first time, it's down in 17,000 feet of water. And for the first time, they've got drones that have finally gotten down there to see it, and and they've been surprised by some of the things that they've seen. And of course, there's different things all around it. But one of the things that they said they were surprised, and I don't understand this. The car.
The what?
We need one. So what I was thinking is, so many people don't know this is even, honoring the first Yorktown that this ship does. And kind of when you walk in to start telling the story, you got to start from there, I think. And again, so here's a Yorktown that sunk in a terrible battle, and here you are, 18 years old, coming on this ship that's also called the Yorktown, and you would have known that stuff. You would have known about that, and how might that have, affected some of the life on board or whatever.
Yeah.
And the other thing, talking back to freedom and this people that made that freedom, that's why it's there. We have so many below decks. We have all these plaques and different awardee type things that came through the years and all that stuff. And I think it'd be interesting, and there are portraits too of some of the paintings of some of the admirals and captains and all. And to me, again, those people, if it's about freedom and the people that help with the freedom, it would be neat to kind of, I'm not talking about a giant display, but to bring some of that stuff up, and especially the paintings or the photos, to anecdotally put like one sentence on there, like who they were or what they did or what happened to them, kind of things. Because there's so many awards and things that the ship has, but it's not ever clearly explained to me in any way, any sequence or why, or what else was going on in the Navy then that caused that particular thing to be awarded here.
Exactly. So that area, we're suggesting that all of those come up and be part of this area, which is the associations, and it has this honorarium in relationship with the museum. Medal of Honor. And then to your first point about the first USS, we're proposing that story go over here in Hangar Bay 1. So you're greeted, and then the natural flow is to do this sort of. So we were thinking along this side to have.
I don't know if those drone videos are of those
That
or
would be
not,
amazing.
but I would certainly look into that. They should be, because it seems like they've been down there a few times with the drones. And back to labeling the Medal of Honor artifacts, we said we know they're not the actual ones that were really used, but they do represent an action. Like there's some of the helicopters out there that were not necessarily actually the real thing, but to tell that story, on there. And I think, Allison, you said that we haven't gone through and really connected all that yet.
Well, that's part of this ongoing process. So we do have the QR codes and all of that on a lot of these spaces that are the Medal of Honor, that are connected with the Medal of Honor. But as we do this, we will move that effort forward.
And the kind of the holdup was the uniform signage, isn't it?
That's
that
right.
He has developed.
You saw the signage there, so yes, that's the signage and the plan. And then like with Vietnam, with some of those things out there, we have to figure out how to make them weather resistant and all of that. But the uniform signage is our jumping off point.
Right.
Now we have a template.
So
Looks good.
is that part of your is Vietnam part of this contract?
No.
Okay. So once you've got the signage, then that would be ours to,
It's on us.
Point to
Yes,
develop
moving forward,
and do
this
it.
is all on us.
Yeah. So that to me would be a great place to start, to start recognizing the medal, because so many of those things do apply that are out there to something that happened.
Right, they did a wonderful job adding story about Bartlett Laffey, you know, the team here
Yeah.
on the Laffey. There's a
Yeah.
whole, you know, board, and yeah. So I mean, those are ongoing, and I think that you're right. This template, I'd love to see. You know, that'll show up. We put that all across our, you know, resources.
And you know, too, if we're focusing on kids who are not going to stand there and read a paragraph in the heat and all, again, the little
One-liners.
one-liners, I think, are really important. You know, and then the historian-minded person. It's like World War II museum. They've got two levels of signage.
That's right.
And one is for the quick shoot through, and the other one is for somebody who wants to stand there and really is interested in one specific thing. So it serves as research capacity, but also the kids get something out of it. You know, in the quick thing. So those are the two things I'd like to see. And I think it's wonderful.
Oh,
Now laying it out, that's a whole nother thing.
When can you start?
I think Doug is done. This is a
Okay.
handoff.
All right, is there anything else? Any other questions? Not, Doug, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank
That's
you.
great.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been our pleasure. Really. I hate to leave.
You say?
You get the pipes fixed? We were worried about you.
You want a 1 minute thing? I did get that pipe fixed, but on Wednesday night, I came home late from the office, turned on the water, and it wouldn't go on.
Oh man.
This is your house.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just shut the water off at the meter, and I said, I'm not calling Allison and saying, I got another broken pipe.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Doug.
Doug, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any public comments? Hearing none, Chair will entertain a motion to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing contractual matters related to the National Medal of Honor Center for Leadership, as well as professional services.
So moved.
Second move.
Moved second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. suggest something like that we're, the motion would be to forward Gil's request
To stay.
to the state, to the AG, Attorney General's office.
That's fine.
Okay, back in, says we're up, yes. We're out of executive session, there were no votes taken while there. In other business, David, you have a motion?
Yes, sir, that we send up Bill's request for the increase in lawyers' fees to the state of South Carolina and let them make the decision.
For a second?
So,
Had it seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. All right, if there's no other business, this is gonna be a shorter meeting than I anticipated. There's no other business. Our next meeting is August 15th. August 15th.
Right around the corner.
If there's nothing else, meeting adjourned. Oh,
So I was just gonna
Okay.
ask, what's the next step with this?
Yeah, I think it's
what's the next step with it?
That's it. We're going. We're off and running, and we'll. This is not now. It's on us. Now it's an ongoing conversation. I'm meeting with Doug and Brian and Jim. They've got a few detailed questions about some of the things in here,
Yeah.
and then
Well, it is services.
the